Namaste and hello everyone. Welcome back to my channel Melody, Rhythm and Soul. My name is Ahuna, and in today's video I'm going to give you a quick update of all that I've been doing this week and a few books which I currently stumbled on for reading further along, and also what I'll be reading all through next month. So do please join me further in this video. So in my previous video, I did mention that I would be dedicating this month to reading about music, and I had selected two fat books to be honest, to read for this month. And I'm not through these two books completely, so I can't really talk about them. But I would like to share that there is a third book which of similar nature, which I did stumble upon, and this was called Musicophilia, which has been written by Dr. Oliver Sacks. Now, this is one of the recent books which I acquired, and it deals with music and neurology. So Dr. Oliver Sacks is a neurologist, and he observes patients who are otherwise challenged with Parkinson's disease or Alzheimer's or schizophrenia or struck by lightning, say, and how they get obsessed with music, and how music actually helps them to heal and creates changes which cannot happen naturally. So from the back of this book, it reads as: music is both completely abstract and a profoundly emotional experience. It has no power to represent anything particular, but it has a unique power to express inner states or feelings. Music can pierce the heart directly. With his trademark compassion, Dr. Oliver Sacks examines the power of music through the individual experiences of patients, musicians, and everyday people. Among them, a surgeon who is struck by lightning and suddenly becomes obsessed with Chopin. People with amusia, to whom a symphony sounds like clattering of pots and pans, and a man whose memory spans only 7 seconds for everything but music. Dr. Sacks describes how music can animate people with Parkinson's disease who cannot otherwise move, give words to stroke patients who cannot otherwise speak, and calm and organize people who are deeply disoriented by Alzheimer's or schizophrenia. This classic of neurology is a book that alters our conception of who we are and how we function, and shows us the essential part of what it is to be a human. So this is a book which I plan to read over the course of this month and next month, of course, in July. So in total, I'll be reading 3 books on music. One is called Mars by 1980, which has been written by David Stubb, which is a history of electronic music, which I'm currently reading. The second book is called The Music Instinct, How Music Works and Why We Can't Do Without It, which is more of a science narrative, which is based upon the observations and the experiments which has been conducted by Phillip. And the third book which I would be reading, or which I would like to add in this particular list, is called Musicophilia by Dr. Oliver Sacks, and these all 3 books will be on music. So I will probably not be able to finish these books by the end of this month, so it will continue in the entirety of July. So I probably should be able to create a video about its contents, giving a brief overview about this book, say next month in July. Now, as all of you know, I also have 2 other channels which are dedicated to books and booktube. So one of them is called Hamsavahini Vajra Astra. I will leave a link to that channel in the description box below for you to cross check. And I did participate in a particular readathon last year called Jane Austen July, and it's a month-long readathon which was dedicated to only Jane Austen. Now, as you know, Jane Austen was one of the famous authoresses of various novels and classics like Pride and Prejudice, Sense and Sensibility, Persuasion, Mansfield Park, etc. And there were other works which were published by her, which are less known. However, there are a lot of aspects of Jane Austen which really intrigue the reader. For example, who she was, with what mind frame she wrote, and what was the history of her. So, on this particular channel, I will be exploring the spirituality of Jane Austen through this book, which has been written by Paula Hollingsworth. Now, this is a book which I have recently acquired, and I was searching for this book all over, and it is one of the lesser known arenas of Jane Austen's life. So everybody knows Jane Austen through her works, and everybody knows that she used to write romantic novels, although she was not married herself, and this is a part of her which is very I would say it's absolutely unknown to people. So I wanted to explore this part of her. Now, as we all know, Jane Austen was the daughter of a clergyman, and her entire family, with uncles and aunts, all were from the parish. So Jane Austen had a very strong spiritual foundation, which is present in her work, but we usually overlook it. So this book helps us to look at all her work through the perspective, or through the prospectus of her spiritual nature. So this is something which I'm really looking forward to read, and although the readathon will be on another channel, but on this channel I'll be exploring this part of her spirituality. Speaking of which, there is another book which I would really love to read, which is called Cross-Cultural Eco-theology in the Indian Ocean context. And this book really deals with the Bible, the scriptures, as well as how we can convert our spirituality into something which blends with ecology as well. So this is something which I'm really looking forward to read, and it's actually a pastoral book, but I would like to read it because anyway I'm reading about Jane Austen. So I found this very interesting, and from the back of this book it reads as the product of Indian and Australian theologians. This book, or this textbook, is a cross-cultural eco-theology in an Indian Ocean context. Written primarily for Indian pastors, the authors hope that it will also be useful for broader readership. While humankind is both beginning to explore the universe and placing our Earth home under severe environmental strain, for many in the world's churches, a spirit of business and belief as usual prevails. But how does a Christian believe that a man, Jeshua from Nazareth, is the creator and the redeemer of the cosmos, address the likelihoods that our precious planet is billions of years old and in danger of becoming uninhabitable? It will not do for the Christians to argue that we do not need to address the findings and the concerns of science. Although the Bible remains the God-breathed word, it needs constant reinterpretation so that the church can contribute to discussions about issues that engage us all. Formed in the spirit, the theological discipline of eco-theology is a religious response to the growing worldwide environmental crisis and to the ecological complaint that Christianity in its Western form bears to a great burden of guilt for the worldwide ecological crisis. And industrialization and burning fossil fuels, or as industrialization and burning fossil fuels to provide energy took hold in the West, so did ecological degradation, and in reaction, the conservation movement, even in the Western Church, has to fundamentally reassess its understanding of what the gospel and salvation means. As India has also driven along the pathway of industrialization to ecological degradation, a similar eco-theological reassessment is already well under the way in the Indian Church. It is the author's hope that this book will contribute to this reassessment. So this is one book which I'm really looking forward to. The other book that I wanted to read is a very tiny book which is called Jane Austen The Complete Novels, and this gives all the novels of, or a gist of all the basic storylines of Jane Austen in one little book. So that's one book which I'll be reading as well, and I'll be reading a variation of Jane Austen's classic called Sense and Sensibility. This is called Sense and Sensibility and Sea Monsters. So it's not a retelling, it's not a reinterpretation, it's a variation. And I'm looking forward to reading this book because first, it's quite quirky, and it's been published by Quirkclassics, and it did come out quite early. But I did not get my hands on this book, honestly. So hopefully I should be able to read this all throughout July. And those are the books that I'll be reading for this month and the next month. And do let me know if there is anything that you would like me to talk about in terms of music, or in terms of earth-centered spirituality, or in terms of classical Indian dance, Bharatanatyam. And do also please let me know in the comment section below your views on the content of this particular channel and what you would like to see. So that's all I have for you today, and hope you have a good productive week ahead. And till then, take care and namaste.